All right, chat. Let us talk about something else. I want to talk about my favorite topic when I want to have fun. And that is BadEmpanada making fun of Ethan Klein. And I just want to let you know, chat, that that BadEmpanada continues to be the funniest source of Ethan Klein trolling. I will continue to support unreservedly and uncritically BadEmpanada. Uncritical support for BadEmpanada.
That Ethan Klein sent what basically amounts to like a stern letter to Noah Samson threatening to sue him.
And I didn't even talk about this, have I? The Noah Samson demand letter is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It legitimately looks like it was written by ChatGPT. I can't even believe anyone would take it seriously. My personal opinion is, if Ethan Klein wants to file lawsuits, he may actually be the first person in history to lose an anti-slap motion on both sides at the same time. What I mean by that is he loses an anti-slap motion for his speech while being hit with an anti-slap motion for his lawsuits against somebody else to stifle their speech. I think he might be the first person in history to successfully lose both sides of an anti-slap motion at the same time.
I would love to go over the whole letter with you, but Ethan Klein made sure to dox me, so I don't want to go over it because he doxed.
Yeah, that's the reason why I didn't do it, because I don't think BadEmpanada's full name has been published anywhere, and Ethan Klein has been publishing it in an attempt to dox the guy. This is what we call a Destiny strat. This is the Destiny strat, which is continually, dox people and direct people to doxes of your enemies because you hope they get killed and, physically killed. Like Destiny, for example, has said openly, and I don't know how he doesn't get banned on YouTube for this. It's shocking, but he has said he wants me to kill myself. He would like to see Hassan and I attacked. Like, he has said this out loud. I think he just recently said he wants to kill, like, a couple of his ex-orbiters who have been making fun of him over his sex crimes ever since they came out earlier this year.
Me in it.
Don't do that. You might die, Mike. Oh, yeah, I'm so worried.
However, we will talk about it nonetheless. Firstly, though, I want to go over the reason why he's doing this, and he hasn't been talking about this. He's been keeping his fans on the down low about this. It's nothing to do with any of this Israel-Palestine stuff. Absolutely nothing to do with it. There's something that Ethan Klein does not talk about anymore. He used to talk about it a lot, but not anymore. Ethan Klein is set to lose millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in an actual real defamation lawsuit because he kept pushing the buttons of a guy who's way richer than him, a guy who used to be a billionaire. And just a few days ago, he ended up losing the most important part of that defamation lawsuit. It was decided that Ethan Klein had defamed this guy. All that there is left is to establish damages. He lost the anti-slap suit, and then he lost the anti-slap appeal, and he was ordered to pay all of the expenses of the plaintiff. The thing with anti-slap, at least in California, from what I have read, because I read a couple of legal articles on this before streaming about it, once the anti-slap motion is defeated, the defamation part of the lawsuit is established. The trial is now only to establish damages. So it has been ruled essentially that he defamed the guy. And this guy he used to be a billionaire. I'd assume he still has hundreds of millions of dollars. So he's going to get totally fucked here. I don't think there's any settling here. There's no settling at this point. You can't settle at this point, can you? Why would the guy want to settle when he's in the driver's seat? And this is why Ethan Klein is like desperately trying to frame himself as some sort of legal warrior who's in the right all the time now to his audience by like.
How is Ethan Klein's viewership right now? We're doing our daily Ethan Klein check-in. Because laughing at Ethan Klein, is one of my favorite things to do. H3 podcast. How are we doing? How are we doing right now? Oh, we got the Nelk boys. Noah Samson exposed as a massive creep. 563,000 views. Noah Samson is screwed. His viewership is falling. He used to get, you could literally just scroll down and see that on his average video. He used to get millions. And they're just falling off more and more and more and more. 700, 900, 700, 700, 700, 700, 800, 800, 800, 900. Ooh, the poker showdown. He didn't do too well in the poker showdown. Dentist needed. Oh, God. Dan Clancy must resign as Twitch CEO. Election night only got 600,000. If he was still working with Hassan, this would be triple the number. Hassan had like millions upon millions of views on election day. He really punted that, huh? 500,000. Content nuke Markiplier. I don't like Markiplier. He's just being extremely jealous of Markiplier. Snark called Child Protective Services on us. No evidence, by the way. No evidence that this happened. They just claim this with no evidence, no proof whatsoever. They just say Snark did it. 500,000. Oof, 276,000 from their stream yesterday. Confronting Nelk on their Andrew Tate affiliation. Noah Samson, retract or lawyer up. Did Noah delete or retract in any way? And it's funny, like, listen, is H3 podcast bigger than me? Yeah, they're a bigger show than me. I'm a single person who created the show, on Twitch with no help. If we just go to my channel, oh, hello. We go to my videos and it's like 667,000. Like we are orders of magnitude closer to them now than they are to Hassan. And if we go to Hassan, like like I'm rising and they're falling.
Their removals are allowed under the act, which grants the president authority to detain her.
Shut up, Hassan. So the H3 podcast, 276,000 views, streamed 17 hours ago. Hassan's streamed yesterday, 734,000 views. H3 is officially smaller than Hassan. And that's just his viewership on Twitch, which isn't even focused on like view counts. It's about hours watched. If you actually compared the hours watched between Hassan and H3, I would bet you Hassan is at least 3 to 5 times bigger as far as hours watched. Oof. Yikes. Oof.
Sending frivolous slap legal threats to Noah Samson and stuff, and threatening to sue like 50 people at once, and threatening to sue like Reddit moderators and stuff. And the reason is that he's actually getting fucked in an actual real lawsuit really bad. So the story behind this lawsuit is that years ago, like 4 or 5 years,
Ethan only does 9 hours a week. So let me just do this in a nice, clippable, short explanation of what's happening. Ethan Klein is crashing out for one reason and one reason alone. Ethan Klein is now significantly of a smaller streamer than Hasanabi. Even though Hassan is just a single guy streaming on his own, Hassan gets 3 times as much viewership from views, and his shows are twice as long, or if not longer. H3 is falling off. And as I predicted, the more that Ethan Klein obsesses over Hassan, the more and more of his fans fall off. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Good luck, Ethan. You're gonna need it.
Years ago, Ethan Klein streamed a couple of seconds of a pay-per-view like boxing YouTuber boxing thing with like Jake Paul or whichever the other Paul. I don't know which one is the boxing Paul.
Austin Ox works for someone else now. He's still around.
And he ended up getting sued for that by Triller Media, who owned the distribution rights to that pay-per-view event.
I think fumbling Austin Ox is like fumbling a baddie. You know what I mean? Like Hassan fumbling Austin Ox is fumbling a baddie.
And
he works for Boy Boy now.
For this lawsuit by Triller Media, Ethan Klein, he blamed the CEO of Triller Media, Ryan Kavanaugh, who was at one point a billionaire, is not anymore apparently. Maybe he is, I don't know. He personally blamed the CEO for that copyright claim. And he started like basically dedicating segments of his show to like saying that Ryan Kavanaugh like was guilty of doing a Ponzi scheme or something constantly. And just like he made websites like, does Ryan Kavanaugh look like Harvey Weinstein? And like just like trying to push this guy's buttons on every single show that he did. And just to be clear, I highly doubt that the CEO of this company had anything to do with the legal team trying to sue him personally. Like obviously he's the CEO, he has something to do with it, but it's not like he's the one who ordered it. Nonetheless, Ethan Klein decided that he was responsible for that and that he would like say a bunch of shit about this guy. And the story behind the defamation lawsuit, which is the one that he is set to lose, is that there was an article in Variety, the entertainment news outlet Variety, which claimed that Ryan Kavanaugh had like carried out a Ponzi scheme. Variety retracted this article within a week, and then Ethan Klein kept citing that article repeatedly, like literally, if you look at the lawsuit, which we will in a minute, he literally cited that article hundreds of times on his podcast, and Ryan Kavanaugh's lawyers had a fucking field day listing all the times that he cited it after it was already retracted to try and make it out like this guy had, like the Ponzi scheme allegation was 100% confirmed or whatever. And to be clear, this Ryan Kavanaugh guy doesn't exactly seem like he's a better person than Ethan Klein. Honestly, they deserve each other. But Ethan Klein apparently thought it was a good idea to just do that over and over again. He thought he was just like immune to everything. A couple of days ago, Ethan Klein's anti-slap appeal, he already lost the original anti-slap motion, and he appealed it. And he lost the appeal, which pretty much par for the course, I would say. You know, that seems about like what you would expect. So allow me to show you the glory of the lawsuit that Ethan Klein just lost. Oh, he hasn't lost the whole lawsuit yet, technically, but he is certainly fucked. Absolutely certainly fucked. And we're going to get to the Noah Samson lawsuit thread and stuff soon as well. And like, if we go through most of this ruling is dedicated to just listing the times that Ethan Klein said that he did a Ponzi scheme. It just goes on and on and on. All of this in reaction to like a copyright claim. On and on and on. He lost, and it was ruled that he had to pay. Kavanaugh is entitled to his costs on appeal. So he had to pay Kavanaugh's fees for the appeal. And once you lose an anti-slap motion, defamation is essentially proven. Now they just get down to the damages and the rest of the trial. So you have to understand, he is so fucked here. He is actually fucked. He made statements of fact, like this guy did a Ponzi scheme. That's something that you have to prove or disprove. He didn't actually prove it. He literally made the claim here that it was just a meme. Defendant's contention that the audience interpreted defendant's statements as a meme, even if true, is unavailing. And then there's a citation. A meme is an amusing or interesting item. Oh, I love lawsuits. Or genre of items that is spread widely online, especially through social media. But Kavanaugh presented sufficient enough evidence to establish a prima facie case that the challenged statements were assertions of fact, and defendants do not identify sufficient evidence to disprove the challenged statements are assertions of fact as a matter of law. So this is a cut and dry defamation lawsuit. It was a statement of fact. They were making statements of fact that, at least as far as we know, are unproven. Cut and dry. He's fucked. These two deserve each other. Like people who love to litigate stuff. I'm glad Kavanaugh is finally getting a win in his litigation, which is more than Ethan Klein can ever say about his frivolous litigation.
Ethan Klein called Dan Clancy a pedophile as recent as yesterday? Really? Honestly, I think Dan Clancy should individually sue Ethan as well. I mean, like, he tried to interfere with his job. He spread defamation. He had him in a Nazi suit. He called him a pedophile. Like, that shit is defamatory, period. Like, oh, seriously. That's crazy. Like, Ethan, that's insane. Does anyone have a clip of that?
No, this isn't frivolous litigation. So that's the reason why Ethan Klein is so desperate to try and frame himself as some sort of legal warrior to his fans, because he's actually a legal loser. He's set to lose so much fucking money here. Like, this guy's going to take him to the fucking cleaners, actually. Now, Ethan Klein's legal document against Noah Samsen is quite a bit different. I'm not going to show it because it doxes me like 50 times throughout, because it's not actually about Noah Samsen. He's just basically trying to sue Noah Samsen for citing me. That's his plan. Like, illegal citations of BadEmpanada. But the contentions are, you called Ethan Klein a genocide supporter, or a genocide enabler, or whatever it was, something like that. Here's the problem with that. That's a matter of opinion. It's not a statement of fact. It's a matter of opinion, because whether or not you support something isn't like you ran a Ponzi scheme. That's a statement of fact. That's something provable or disprovable. You're a genocide supporter. It's something that you can argue for, but it's not something that's inherently true or false. We know by our standards it's true.
Worth noting that nothing in this lawsuit is decided yet. That this was Ethan saying that Cav is doing a slap suit. And the judge basically said, nah, it isn't a slap, and it can proceed. Yes, true. That's what I believe it is as well, but I'm not familiar with California's civil procedure, so I don't know that if making a decision on slap, I don't think it is a statement that it is defamatory. Right? Like, that's a really interesting question, because if you're saying that the statements were prima facie statements of fact and not opinion or discussions of public policy, right? So kind of says they are defamatory if you could show damages and if you could show the information is not true, right? So I think they're pretty much saying that he's fucked.
But it's more of a subjective claim. In the US, these sorts of claims
of prevailing on defamation went up significantly.
Are very well protected by the First Amendment, so you can't just sue someone on that basis. Are you a genocide supporter? On the face of it is a matter of opinion. What is genocide is also a matter of opinion. Is what is happening in Gaza genocide is also a matter of opinion. You can't litigate this shit. It's all the way down. It's things that you cannot possibly litigate. The court is not going to decide whether you are right or wrong in what is ultimately an argument. The court can only decide whether you were defamed when someone says that you did or said something that you didn't do. Statements of fact. They can't fucking litigate an argument for you. He's so fucking stupid that rather than try to make a response video to argue his case, he's going to court and paying his lawyer to essentially present before a court a YouTube argument for him. By the way, his lawyer, I just want to note, and you'll love this one. Now, you might know that Ethan Klein has said repeatedly that West Bank settlers are fair game. Let me just show you a little clip of that from the content new Hassan Piker.
The West Bank are religious zealots, they're monsters, they're genocidal. I've even said the West Bank settlers are valid military targets. When you talk about colonial settlers and stuff, that's what's actually happening in the West Bank right now. And these people are more or less valid military targets, in my opinion.
Okay. Now,
Yeah, they're valid military targets, but if you shoot them, the Israeli military will drop a bomb on you and send a tank to your house. So, and that's paid for by American tax dollars. So how, it's like, if you think that Israel is committing genocidal war crimes and illegal settlement, how could you complain about resistance against the Israeli government? The Israeli government co-signs and subsidizes those illegal settlements and commits the crimes. So it's like saying, how dare you attack Nazi Germany?
Now. I want to introduce you now. I'm so excited. I want to introduce you to Ethan Klein's lawyer, Ron Bar-Nissim. Prior to entering law, Bar-Nissim was an English teacher in Israel and the West Bank. I wonder.
In addition, he co-authored a public comment on behalf of the visual arts social networking platform DeviantArt. And that's how we know. That's where Ethan found him. DeviantArt. Check those hard drives. Check those hard drives.
Discussion goes. Ethan Klein thinks that his lawyer is a valid military target. I wonder how that goes over at lunch. I'm so pro-Palestine that my lawyer is a former West Bank settler, Ron Bar-Nissim. That is the most I change my name to sound more indigenous name you'll ever see. It's giving Maximus Aurelius. I said it's giving. So anyway, apart from the lawyer being very funny, aside from that one thing, genocide, Ethan Klein's lawyer tries to claim that Noah Samson saying things like Ethan Klein erroneously cited Saudi Arabian propaganda to try and claim that the Houthis were slavers. He tries to claim that is a defamatory statement. Again, that's a statement about like a fucking argument on like the facts regarding news and history and politics and stuff. You can't litigate that. A judge cannot decide whether that statement is true or false or not. It's an argument. You can't litigate that. And I can show you that part because it doesn't mention my name, but basically the entire rest of the video, his lawyer went and did a very obvious he asked ChatGPT to debunk 2 of my videos. The one about Ethan Klein citing Saudi propaganda to claim that the Houthis are slavers, and another one about Ethan Klein lying about supposed equivalent expulsions of the Nakba to try and legitimize the Nakba. So I shit you not, Ethan Klein essentially paid his lawyer to ask ChatGPT to debunk 2 BadEmpanada videos. He paid his lawyer easily thousands for this because he is like incapable of debunking the videos himself. So he paid.
He's supposed to be a commentary YouTuber. Why doesn't he just make a video? Why doesn't Ethan Klein just make a video?
About Dan Clancy or whatever, like the CEO of Twitch, and being
Pedophile. Okay, well, maybe not, but maybe like he...
What?
I don't know if that's true.
Definitely not.
You can't...
That wasn't even... Hold on,
Dan,
that wasn't even what the accusation.
You're going to be the one
Do you
getting
not
off.
remember?
No. I'm saying I don't know. But Dan...
Yeah, I would definitely sue this motherfucker. Like, holy shit.
You can't say in good conscience that you know for sure he's not a pedophile.
What? You can't say
I
that
can
about
definitely
anybody.
say that he is. What I can say
I didn't say he is.
Yes, you did.
You
I
just-
said
literally
pedophile.
just...
All I said is pedophile. I don't know for sure. Can we check the flight logs for
Just
Dan?
he is a creep. He's a certified creep. That we publicly
Well, that's evidence.
know. Right? Yeah. So we could just probably leave it at that. Right?
Well,
Tall Skeleton actually zoomed
now
in
what's
to
provable in a court of law?
her photos in the background. Did you guys
you
notice
telling
this?
me this guy...
I'm telling you that guy is a creep based off of what I've seen.
See, Dan is smart enough to know that creep is an opinion, right? It's not a statement of fact. It's an opinion, right? Ethan Klein says that he's a pedophile, which is a statement of fact, not a statement of opinion. And being accused of being a pedophile is considered to be the worst thing you could call a person, even more so than a murderer. So, like, point blank defamatory.
A fucking lawyer to try and do so. Obviously, there is no fucking valid legal reason to litigate this shit. You can't litigate an argument over an interpretation of a source. You can't litigate this. What the fuck is this? Check this out, okay? He's like, you attempt to impeach the credibility of the sources relied upon by Ethan. For example, you attack the article entitled Exclusive Houthis Restore Slavery in Yemen from Asharq al-Awsat English version, which, by the way, is literally a Saudi newspaper owned by the Saudi royal family. The article itself refers to receiving information from, oh my god, I can't believe this, sources close to the group, several local reports, Yemeni activists, a member of the lawyers syndicate in Yemen, and a civilian who works for a pro-Houthi tribal leader in Sada. Other than your blithe assertion that the article contains baseless claims from Saudi state propaganda outlets, you cite no evidence refuting the substance of the article or the sources it relied upon. The sources it relied upon, do you listen to yourself? Sources close to the group, several local reports. It's literally nothing. It's made up. Like, I could say, Rambar Nassim, according to several local reports, took a big poo-poo in the local river. Several local reports. Sources close to him told me this. When the article itself does not actually cite fucking anything aside from, dude, trust us, these people who definitely exist who we cannot name nor identify told us this. And it's owned by the fucking Saudi royal family currently doing a fucking genocide against the people that it's talking about. Yeah, that's made up. That's fucking made up. Citing a source like that is equivalent to citing fucking nothing. It's the same exact thing. And it's like, why don't you try and disprove the substance of the sources that it relied upon? Like, sources close to the group? Yeah, why don't you try and disprove that? Ethan Klein paid someone thousands of dollars to try and debunk my video and to try and sue Noah Samson for citing my video. And then, I shit you not, it goes on to state that the United States State Department cited that article, and that is his basis. That is his basis for it being apparently evidence of defamation, which it would, by the way, even if this were true, even if this article was 100% true and good, contesting that fact and saying that you don't believe that it was is not defamation. It can't be defamation. It's a fucking matter of interpretation. It's an argument between two fucking YouTubers. You can't litigate this. This is so getting thrown out. Like, are you kidding me? This guy is just driving his reputation through the mud. Dealing with Ethan Klein. What the fuck is this?
Legitimately, Ethan Klein. This is the problem with Ethan Klein. This is the big problem with Ethan Klein. Is he doesn't understand politics or law in even the most rudimentary fashion, right? So he's continually getting owned, and whenever people encounter something that Ethan Klein knows about, or that they know about that Ethan Klein is talking about, they stop listening to him because he's wrong on it and he looks stupid. So every day he's talking about shit, he's losing more and more fans. Because you may trust Ethan Klein, but, you know, then he starts talking about something you know about. And you're like, wait a minute, that's not right. That's wrong. And it starts causing you to question the stuff he says about things you don't know about. And you start looking it up. You start looking at, you know, watching me. You start watching Hassan. You start watching BadEmpanada. And you realize, like, oh, no, he's dumb as fuck. He was wrong about everything. And then you start, you know, when you compare what Ethan Klein says to neutral third-party sources, when you say what Ethan Klein says and you look at what experts say, it always is out of alignment. He only aligns with one group consistently, and that's the Israeli state.
And then he goes on to say, further is evidence you not watch the Al Jazeera World documentary Slavery in Yemen. The documentary focused on Yemen's overall culture of slavery and the deposed government's denials of its existence. Yeah, that has nothing to do with the Houthis. Moreover, it is highly misleading to claim it was issued before the Houthi takeover of Yemen, since the Houthis have controlled parts of Yemen as early as March 2011. Further, the Al Jazeera documentary was released on September 10th, 2014, 6 days before the Battle of Sana'a. So he's like trying to claim that somehow this documentary, which he himself acknowledged, is about the previous government, which the Houthis deposed, somehow proves that the Houthis do slavery, as Ethan Klein claimed. Because of Yemen's overall culture of slavery, even his lawyers are racist shitbags. Unbelievable. Though, to be fair, this was almost certainly not written by him, but imagine presenting this to a court. Like, this is something that even if you were right, you could not litigate. But to be clear, he's just plain fucking wrong. This is fucking absurd. Now, I can't show you a lot of the rest of this because he doxed me in it. I feel like he doxed me in it, like just because he wanted to make it so that I couldn't refute it on my stream, which is basically the sort of thing that Ethan Klein would do. But to give you a taste of what it's like in the rest of it, let me show you just the citations. This is the citations for one page. And you might, if you use or you're familiar with like ChatGPT, what ChatGPT tends to do is it does this ridiculous over-citation thing where it will write one sentence and throw in like 10 different citations, like Wikipedia articles, like encyclopedia entries, like YouTube videos and stuff.
This video on H3 is so good.
Being a conflict journalist is a rough job. I spend a lot of time on this channel ragging on the British press, but there's a big difference between someone who goes into a war zone to try and uncover the truth of ongoing atrocities.
See, this is what you need to do. If you have a new YouTube channel that you're trying to grow, you need to take the drama and then you convert it into a discussion on something substantive. That's how you do it. You don't just post videos of you talking about substantive shit because that's not going to get you in anybody's algorithm. You need to have a hook. The hook is the drama slop.
Or for like one random sentence that probably wouldn't even need a citation. So this is what the citations look like on like one page. Wikipedia, YouTube video, YouTube video, YouTube video, YouTube video. Holocaust Encyclopedia, United States Holocaust Memorial Museum Encyclopedia, Wikipedia, 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 US State Department. He paid his lawyer to ask ChatGPT to debunk my videos. Ethan Klein, in lieu of being able to respond to people criticizing him himself, something that he insists that Hassan Piker is bad for not doing, even though Hassan has already watched a billion videos that refuted him. So why does it matter who refuted you or not? It doesn't really matter. But Ethan Klein keeps claiming that Hassan has to refute his content nuke himself or it doesn't count. Ethan Klein paid his lawyer to ask ChatGPT to try and refute two of my second channel videos and attempt to try and file a lawsuit over that. To be clear, you can't litigate this. You can't litigate historical interpretations. You can't litigate historical arguments. You can't litigate shit like, I believe this source you cited is bunk. You can't litigate this stuff. This is not a matter for a court to decide, and it's certainly not defamation against you to say that you're wrong about this and say, well, the source that you cited is shit. You can't go to a fucking court and litigate this stuff. This is not defamation. Everything in here is First Amendment protected. The original contention in and of itself is a First Amendment protected matter of free speech. In my opinion, you were a genocide supporter. And the rest of it is like, it's like a historian, rather than writing a rebuttal to another historian who he disagrees with, he just goes to court and accuses the other historian of defamation for saying that he's wrong. Except it's not a historian, it's a YouTuber argument. And rather than attempting to respond to the disagreement on the historical facts with the other YouTubers, Ethan Klein fucking asked his lawyer to write like a threatening letter in which he asked ChatGPT to try and debunk my videos. To be clear, not to sue me, but to sue Noah Samson for citing those videos to disprove Ethan Klein's historical claims. You can't litigate historical arguments. You can't litigate historical interpretations. You can't litigate whether a source is valid to say that Houthis have slaves or not. Even if you are right, you couldn't litigate that. This is fucking comical. Like, for someone who just lost a slap appeal when they made false statements of fact repeatedly.
ChatGPT brain is a thing. The dumbest people ask AI questions for everything. They're offshore their brain power to the AI. The thing is, people don't shake and bake. People don't understand how AI works. AI is programmed to be solicitous of you. AI is programmed to adopt your framing. It is not like programmed to be this like cold logic machine that people think. It is basically prediction software.
Against a billion.
And what it's trying to predict what you want it to hear. You have to engineer prompts very strictly in order to get the AI to act in a way that isn't solicitous of you. Now, if you don't know what solicitous means, you shouldn't be using it to prove shit because you're stupid.
Big fucking mistake there. This is like an absurd
if you
thing
can't
to
pronounce the word viscosity, You're not allowed to use AI.
Do. It's like he's trying to nurse his wounds by like getting destroyed in a slap motion himself now. What a fucking joke. Like ChatGPT Ethan Klein, meet ChatGPT Ethan Klein, Ethan Klein's settler West Bank lawyer. Amazing. One of the other things that he said in a recent stream, which I thought was very funny, is that he's afraid to go out in public now. Ethan Klein is afraid to go out in public. This is someone who he claims that I am like I'm in hiding from.
Okay, this is the funniest part of the video, and I'm so glad we got to it quickly. Ethan Klein apparently is afraid to leave his home.
The people who want to come after me, and I'm scared to leave my house. And he straight up admits on his stream that he is afraid to go out in public. This is a man of the people. Meanwhile, I just go out every single day.
Me too.
People greet me in the street and they're like, BadEmpanada, will you sign my breasts? And I'm
oh, this is so funny.
like, no, you slag, get away from me.
Lena, speak up for me.
It's scheduled.
No, we know.
Why?
That's part of the issue.
She's busy.
You scheduled it 1 month ahead.
She's so
Why?
busy. Yeah,
Busy,
yeah,
right,
she's very.
Lena?
She?
Who cares? Well, you
get
need a
some
special.
cookies.
You're shaving your head. Go to Supercuts.
I don't go in public.
You could get someone to.
You could go to Supercuts right now.
We're
and be done in
loyal
10
to the-
minutes.
You understand about
haircut.
I don't go in public.
No, he's right, Dan.
Yeah,
No, he's right. I mean,
But there's
It's called
other
barber
barbers that come
loyalty.
to your house, or like could come to
We
the
don't know
studio.
that.
This man is afraid to go out.
Look how many sycophants this fucking loser has. Look how many servants he has. No wonder he talks so tough. He's behind his like 8 security walls. Oh man. Meanwhile, I do all my shopping in Rodeo Drive because that's where the locals shop, chat, and I haven't seen him there yet. Damn.
Outside. This is the guy who claims that like I have people coming after me. This is someone.
By the way, that's a joke. It's a reference. Ethan Klein said that the locals of LA shop at Rodeo Drive, which is a famous shopping street that's like notoriously overpriced. And he was like, the locals shop there.
Who is so afraid of the repercussions of the vile shit that he has said that he's afraid to leave his fucking house. Unbelievable. There was a clip as well where he was like saying, oh, you want to come at me?
Like,
I do
sign
this
my
for
breast.
fun. This is what I do in my free time in regards to like trying to like stalk and dox people and file frivolous lawsuits against them and shit like that. This is just what I do in my free time. I can play the audio, but I don't want to show the video because he doxes me in it. Okay. Now, listen to Ethan Klein's incredible rant about me. It's honestly just sad.
But that's okay. None of them are as dedicated, as crazy, and as willing to waste money as I am. So Georgie boy thinks he's safe out there. But he's not. He's just never really come up against someone like me. I'll just be honest. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I have more money than them. I'm more dedicated.
He has more money. So he has more money. He's guys, Ethan Klein, he's a really tough foe because he's got a lot of money.
Have more money. Ethan, not every country is like the USA. You can't just file frivolous lawsuits like you can in the USA. Money's not going to get you anywhere else.
Than them. I've completely fucking
You're more dedicated? Dude, you're not dedicated at all. You're the laziest fucker in the world.
thrown every all these things. Like maybe it's not worth it. That's all gone. Maybe it's not worth it to spend $1 million pursuing some fucking human STD in Argentina. No, that's gone.
You're not going to have $1 million once Kavanaugh's done with you.
See, that's gone. When you guys contributed to an atmosphere in which the CPS was called on my house, when you specifically...
They were calling your house because you yourself said on your own live stream that your kid had contracted the parasite Giardia, and then you went on to say that you thought that it was from eating shit. That's why.
Okay, he didn't exactly say that, but he implied it. The other thing is, we don't know who called CPS. He's just making shit up. It could have been a pediatrician. Ethan Klein is just claiming it's his enemies so it's convenient so he can act like a victim. We don't know if it was his former housekeeper. We don't know if it was a pediatrician who did the Giardia test. We don't know if it was a fan of Ethan even who got concerned. It could have been a relative, a friend. There's no evidence that it was a Starker, as far as I'm aware. I'm happy to be corrected, but like, he's just saying shit.
George, joke.
Because like, and the reason why he's saying stuff is because it's PR. Like, imagine you heard CPS visits Ethan Klein's house because of suspicion that his children are eating the shit of their dogs and catching parasites. Versus, oh, CPS was called on me by a Snarker. This is the new form of doxing and swatting. It's the same thing that happened. But the frame of it goes from Ethan Klein is, a suspect for child abuse crime and neglect crime to Ethan Klein is a victim of malicious false accusations from internet trolls. The same event, but framed two different ways. And we don't have any evidence of either one. I can't tell you if it was the Snarkers who did it, or I can't tell you if it was a legitimate mandatory reporter that was doing their job concerned about the children's safety. And Ethan Klein doesn't have any evidence. He just lies about it so that he can make his enemies look bad in a situation where he's looking bad. And the difference between CPS and swatting, just so you know, chat, is CPS is a guy with a clipboard. And SWAT is the most hyper-militarized, violent cops coming in to shoot on sight to prevent a hostage situation or a murder. Swatting is a legitimate situation where if you make the wrong move, you could be killed by the cops. Whereas CPS is somebody visiting to make sure children are safe. To even compare the two is ridiculous. And he should know better as a content creator. Now, I'm not saying that the CPS thing was okay to do if it was done maliciously. I just don't know who did it. And I don't want anybody to make false accusations maliciously. That is a crime, period. And we should not do that kind of shit.
About calling the CPS. When you specifically...
It wasn't a joke, Ethan. It was me all along, Ethan. It was me, Ethan. I called them. CPS would definitely take seriously a phone call from like a person on the other side of the world.
George.
He can't, it's so funny how he frames like a CPS visit like swatting still. Still, it's just like swatting. It's literally SWAT. It's the same. Like a bunch of like the SWAT team comes guns drawn and they like point the guns at your kid. That's what he wants his dumb teenage fans to believe. It's so fucking funny. Like it's a traumatic experience.
Suggested I was lying about the CPS coming to my house when you...
Yeah, I still do suggest that because you've provided no evidence of it. And until extraordinary claims made with no evidence can be discarded out of hand, you've still provided nothing. Where's the paperwork? Where's like the video? You know, I'm pretty sure you have the right to record like your meeting with the CPS officer or take a picture of them or something. There's nothing. Where is that? Provide evidence for us.
George specifically propagated this whole thing by saying that my kids were crawling around and eating shit.
I didn't say that. You did.
Potentially eating shit. You opened it. You welcome to my world, baby. You know what I mean?
No one will ever be in your sad little world, Ethan. No matter how low I fall, I am always consoled by the fact that I will never fall that low.
Let's fucking get it, dude.
And there's literally nothing you can do. That's the great thing. I could say anything that I want about you, and you can't do anything about it, Ethan.
I've been in a lawsuit with Rank Heaven now for like over 3 years, and I've spent...
Oh, yeah, we went over that. You're going to... Listen.
Countless hundreds of thousands. To me, this is just fucking...
It's going to be a lot more than just hundreds of thousands. Try millions, Ethan. Try many millions. He's going to be docking your pay for centuries.
Just like my free time.
This is just my free time. Let's listen to that again. Live replay.
Countless hundreds of thousands. To me, this is just like my free time.
This is your free time. This is your free time, Ethan. Ethan, your free time is like filing frivolous lawsuits because of YouTube arguments that you're too stupid to actually engage with on the facts and the evidence. Your free time? That's the saddest thing I have ever heard in my life. You don't have a hobby, you don't have interests, you don't have friends, you don't have like anything else to do. I mean, you have 3 kids, but evidently you're not the one who's taking care of them. Your free time is just thinking about your internet grudges with people who you have a hurt ego about because they refuted your videos and you couldn't actually deal with that. So you try and file frivolous lawsuits against them. That's your free time. You are not realizing how pathetic you sound. You think you sound like the fucking Joker or something. I mean, you do sound like a Joker, but you don't sound like the Joker. You
Trump raises tariffs on China to 104% effective at midnight, White House says. Okay. Yeah. I think the stock market's gonna crash.
You sound like the saddest, most pathetic man in the entire world. You sound like you were on the fucking brink of just ending it, man. You need help. You don't need more frivolous slap lawsuits that are going to get fucking destroyed at their first attempt to even get through an anti-slap motion. You need desperate help. You have millions of dollars and this is your life. You could be traveling the world on luxury cruise ships without working a day ever again. And this is what you do instead. You sue like YouTubers and try to get your lawyer to write rebuttals of their videos for you. Like, this is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I want to show you the next part is very funny as well.
I don't know how you handle it. For me, this is just like, this is a Sunday breeze, okay?
This is how you spend your Sundays, man. You should be spending them with your children, Ethan.
So yeah, we're gonna be working with Argentinian lawyers, investigators, police, and we are going to be basically exploring all.
He's going to be exploring all avenues to hold me accountable. He's going to be working with lawyers, investigators, police. Dude, can you imagine, like, you're a police officer and you get a filing for a guy from like another country, and it says, this guy said that I eat poop on the internet. This guy said that I eat poop on the internet. Can you do something about this? This guy said that I eat poop on the internet. So here's what's going to happen, okay? He's going to hire like a lawyer, and the second that the lawyer's going to be coy with his fees. Usually lawyers are paid up front in Latin America. You pay them up front. What this lawyer is going to do is, the second that he realizes who Ethan Klein is, he's going to charge him by the hour, like 20 times his normal fee. Usually in Argentina, for a defamation trial, you would say, the lawyer would agree with you, okay, pay me $10,000 and I'll see this whole process from the beginning to the end. What this guy is going to do is he's going to be charged by the hour. They're going to milk the fuck out of him. And to be clear, I will fucking froth at the mouth to be sued in Argentina by Ethan Klein for defamation, to get all of the shit about like him talking about poop on the record. Do you know what the worst thing that can happen to in Argentina is as a result of defamation? I would like to show you. So in Argentina, the most popular TV presenter in the country is this guy named Eduardo Feynman. 4 years ago, he lost a defamation trial because live on television, he said straight up that a guy murdered someone. Like, he was having a beef with some guy, and he said the guy killed someone. He accused this guy of murder on live TV on the most popular news station in the entire country. What do you think happened there? Literally, like, accusing someone of fucking murder. After a 2-year trial, he was fined $200. Not damages. There were no damages involved. He was fined $200. He didn't even have to retract on air. It gets better. It gets better. He appealed this. I don't know why. It's $200. But just to be a cunt, just to be a right old cunt. He appealed this ruling, which was regarding him factually accusing someone of murder, literal murder, live on air, on TV, as the most popular public figure in the country in terms of like news media. What happened? He appealed it and he was absolved. It was decided that accusing someone of murder on live TV cannot be considered defamation. He literally said about like a former soldier that he had killed like one of his compatriots in cold blood. And the court decided that what he said cannot be actioned. Now, imagine if you go to the Argentine court system and you're like, this guy said that I said live on air that my kid got a parasite, and then I said that you get this parasite from eating shit. Something that he factually said. What is the worst thing that you could think could happen? Like, I could literally not even go to court. I could literally do nothing, and like I would not be in any trouble at all. However, I would do something because, like, dude, this shit is nothing. Like, for the fun of it, I would absolutely defend myself. Just so that we could have, like, in Argentine public record, like a bunch of like 50-point like legal filings going over all the times that Ethan Klein has talked about shit, all the times that he talked about like eating shit, or him talking about giardia, him talking about like his kid crawling around, putting everything in his mouth, as he said, and then like we could get that out there for everyone to see. Like, I wouldn't even care. I would get like this.
So the stock market is slowly kind of, I think the optimism is slowly draining out of the stock market, chat. Like, it started up quite a bit on optimism and people are starting to sell and it's kind of just slowly kind of just. I think tomorrow is going to be a absolute massive crash, and I'm considering like whether or not I want to. I was thinking about buying a straddle, but I was like, do I really think it's gonna go up? I don't think it's gonna go up.
Shittiest lawyer in the world to do this, because it's not even worth actually trying to defend myself with real money in a case like this, because the consequences are
It
not.
says 12 p.m., not a.m. White House says went into effect already 6 minutes ago. The markets rallied 4.5% into news that China vowed to fight until the end. Now that's being corrected with the S&P 500's gain on the daily nearly erased. Oh. We increased short exposure. Yeah, I do think that I do think that things are about to get bad.
Nothing. Just because I want to get it on the record, because it's fucking hilarious. This guy tries to litigate someone claiming that something that he factually said happened, which was him saying, oh, my entire family has giardia. And then his crew is like, but how do you get giardia? And he's like, you have to eat my shit. I want that to be a court case. Like, imagine litigating that. He's going to go to the police about it. And I'd love to see him as well try to argue in court that getting a visit from CPS is like some sort of risk to his person or something, because that would be really funny as well. A court would be like, well, CPS is like the fucking government child protection agency. Getting a visit from CPS is not like you were attacked by terrorists or something. Like he tries to frame it like I hired a hitman or something. That's how he frames like someone calling CPS. I have never felt less threatened by anything in my entire life, and he thinks he's like the Joker or something. It's fucking incredible. Like he's used to living in a country where you can just file frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit against people and like basically threaten them into silence because they don't want to deal with the trouble.
I just like, as I said from the beginning, and I'm going to say it again, if Ethan Klein just shut the fuck up, if he had just broke up with Hassan, remained cordial, and just stopped talking about Israel-Palestine and gone back to his goofs and gaffs or whatever the fuck he supposedly did, and kept his content to farting in Denny's, which is, other than, I know 2 Ethan Klein jokes. Him farting in a green screen Denny's and Vape Nation from 10 years ago. That's the only thing that I've seen of Ethan Klein's content that was like funny. Also, oh, wait. I'm lying. There's one other thing. I remember that he proposed to his wife while sitting on the toilet. I remember this. He proposed to his wife by sitting on the toilet and then asking her to bring in butt wipes because he was taking a shit. And then he told her, open the butt wipes, and the engagement ring was in the butt wipes. Those are the 3 things I know. Those are the 3 things I know from Ethan Klein. Farting in Denny's, Vape Nation, which is basically just ripping off old, weed abuser stereotypes, and proposing to his wife on the shitter. One of my normie friends was like, oh, so what's going on with Ethan Klein? I used to like his podcast, like generally concerned and like, why is he doing this? I mean, most people are just like, the funny thing is that he has absolutely no shooters. It's wild. Like, I thought Ethan Klein was more popular than he actually is. He's unpopular. Like, he is actually legitimately unpopular. It just, like, more people hate the guy than like the guy. It's crazy. Every Ethan defender I see is a boater seller. Yeah. Literally every single person who is an Ethan Klein, like, I hate Hassan and Mike and Denims and Casey Notice that the people they're targeting are not Ethan's enemies necessarily. They are Destiny's enemies that they're laundering through Ethan. So, because they're all embarrassed to be Destiny fans, right? Like, a lot of these people that defend Ethan Klein, they unfollowed Destiny, but they still follow like every single Destiny orbiter, including Dan Can't Stream. Dan Saltzman. So it's like you're like, oh, that's another Destiny viewer. And, you know, say what you will about Destiny, he at least has his like 500 incel minions that follow him around. He eventually fully crashed out against everyone he ever made content with. It's fucking weird.
So they would beat you. So I will note that everyone should stand back and stand by, because with his...
He still has orbiters? Not really. Sex Pestity is pretty much... He doesn't have much in the way of orbiters. He's Vosh now.
His supposed lawsuit against Noah, which I don't think is actually going to be going through with. I have privileged information, and I can tell you that Ethan Klein has united forces far beyond his power and his reckoning. He has united people who go way beyond him, and things are not going to be going very well for him in the future. When Ethan Klein hears about what we have organized for him, he is going to throw an absolute fucking fit. He's going to have a mental fucking breakdown. He has made pretty much the biggest mistake he ever could have made. You'll know when you see it what I'm talking about. I'm not going to be the one who's announcing it. I am involved, but I'm not the main guy here. You're gonna see someone way bigger than me, with way more money than me, with way more power than me, and way more than Ethan announcing it. And this person has on their side way more people just like them, who Ethan Klein is going to be fucking scared into submission just at the very prospect of having these people taking action against him. Because there is no better way to deal with a vexatious litigant than people with fuck off money, way more fuck off money than he could ever hope to have, throwing it right back at him. Let's just say that he's going to regret the imputations of pedophilia against me. He's going to regret ever mentioning the word lawsuit, not just against me, but against many other people. He's going to regret ever mentioning it against Hassan Piker, against Denims, against Frogan, against whatever other people, Reddit moderators, against anyone else who is
I can't believe he didn't mention me. My ego is hurt.
Here, because he has basically ensured his own downfall by doing this. And you will know when you see it what I am talking about.
Honestly, I have to say this. I haven't even really gotten that much. Like, they've attacked me a lot, but I've mostly won so hard. Like, every time they try to fight me, they kind of regret it. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, they kind of regret it. They don't want... It's because he talks to Destiny, right? And Destiny's like, well, you don't want to promote Mike. So they kind of try to stay away from talking about me as much as they obsess over Frogan and Denims, but... Whenever they do talk about me, it is very funny to farm the fuck out of them. How can your ego be hurt at this point? You're always right. I feel like your ego... The only thing that makes my ego hurt is that people that I like, that I've supported, don't support me back, right? Like, that's the only thing that actually hurts my feelings, right?
I'm not, as I said, I will not be the one announcing it.
You even won against AB, the one who actually has a modicum of sympathy among the dumbest motherfuckers online. I mean, I don't think that if you have sympathy for AB, you're dumb. I just think that you're a liberal, which is not quite the same thing. Like, you want to be like, no, like AB, you know, he's just an employee. Like, he isn't responsible for his own actions. And like, how dare you attack someone for working for somebody? And it's like, well, for a year said nothing about AB. I even defended AB because I thought that he might actually help contain Ethan and might actually get Ethan to move the fuck on with his life. But then it became clear that AB was actually participating in the harassment of me and Frogan and like other random chatters. Like when the Instagram story leaked of AB sending that post to Ethan and Ethan shared the screenshot saying shared by AB, that's what made me turn. That's what made me lose my mind. You know, because behind the scenes, I had been like, you know, trying my best to just be like, hey, these, you know, do you guys need help? Like, what's going on down there? How can we help you guys? And like, ultimately, you know, he showed his true colors, which is he doesn't give a shit about anything but keeping his job with Ethan Klein. And everything else is just bullshit. And he's happy to help Ethan harass people because they're pro-Palestinian, by the way.
But you will know when you see the announcement.
You showed me that he actually amplifies Ethan's attacks by letting himself lose arguments when he was in the right. It was crazy harmful. Yeah, and he also does this. It's complicated. It's complicated. It's complicated. They're like, we're pro-Palestine. We're pro-Palestine. And then when they actually are talking about it with Ethan, they go, it's complicated. Both sides. It's complicated. So they don't actually support Palestine. They don't actually confront Ethan's lies. They fall back on, oh, it's complicated. H3 fan believes this is a respectable thing to post. Pro-Palestinian advocate Loaderbox plays a fun game.
Okay. But it's only a minute long, so minute 28. I wonder if it's this short. Can we get a
Well, he's gonna say genocide, guys. He's gonna say genocide.
genocide timer?
The genocide timer. Honestly, like, you know, I know Loaderbox is a complete fucking loser, but this guy pretends to be pro-Palestinian. Look at how pathetic that is.
Let's get a genocide timer. Come on.
Israel is currently enacting its final solution on the Palestinian people.
Okay, 2 seconds 88. Okay. Final solution.
He didn't say genocide. He said final solution, which is the words they use. They use final solution to Palestinian question. Pro-Palestine. Here's Loaderbox visiting Israel with Destiny and Elon Levy, Netanyahu's personal spokesman. Fucking scumbag.
Okay. That was
Wow, you got him, man. Loaderbox is not only a gross Zionist piece of shit, he's also terribly boring. That's why he has no viewers. Like, Loaderbox doesn't have any viewers because he's not any good at streaming. All right, let's keep moving on. What's going on with the stonks right now? Oh boy. Uh-oh. Yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It was up 1,400 at one point. Now it's only up 400. We've lost 1,000 points off the high. Tariffs will be collected starting April 9th. All right, I'm done making fun of Ethan Klein. Let's go back to let's talk about the fact that everything is going to crash.
Meantime, let's talk about what's going on with China, because they are now vowing a strong response to President Trump's latest threat to escalate tariffs. According to CNBC's translation, the country's Commerce Ministry calling that a, quote, mistake on top of a mistake. The ministry is saying if the U.S. insists on its own way, China will fight to the end. Now, the comments coming after President Trump said he'd hit China with an additional 50% tariff if China doesn't cancel its retaliatory 34% tariffs on American products. Take a look at President Trump in the Oval Office yesterday talking all about it.
Would you be open to a pause in tariffs to allow for negotiations?
Well, we're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals. And in certain cases, they're going to be paying substantial tariffs. There'll be fair deals.
That's your first. Now, on the subject of the talks, the president said there can be permanent tariffs and there can also be negotiations. We're going to talk a lot more about all of this, tariffs and everything else, at 7 a.m. Eastern Time with the man in the middle, the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. He's going to join us right here on Squawk Box Live. So lots of questions for him this morning.
You know, yesterday we spoke with Peter Navarro, and his take was that this was not a negotiation. Right. We were going to see that within a matter of hours. You heard that the Treasury Secretary was going to be negotiating with Japan, at least, and we will hear from him where these things stand. But that's been the biggest confusion point on Wall Street is, are these real and permanent? Are they a negotiating tactic? And where do we get there? And depending on the day, depending on which
Well, I think there's
official
different
you're
camps.
speaking to.
I think
there is too.
I think there's the Navarro camp and the Lutnick camp on one side. I think there's the Besant and maybe even Elon Musk camp on another, which is say negotiations, and the goal is to try to get the rates down to as low as possible. The camp that I think we all don't know about is exactly which one President Trump is in, because he's talked about this being a negotiation, and then he's also talked about them being permanent forever.
I was going to actually talk about this, but I see it's in the, we actually have it's scripted, but then we'll talk after. But speaking of Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, Politico is reporting that he flew down to Florida over the weekend to encourage President Trump to hone his message on negotiating trade deals, or else he would risk a further fall in the financial markets. And the operative term there is negotiations. Elon Musk also reportedly reached out to President Trump. Washington Post says Musk made direct appeals to the president to reverse course on his widespread new tariffs, but proved unsuccessful. In another development, Senate Majority Leader John Thune told reporters he doesn't see a future for a bipartisan bill introduced last week that would limit presidential power to impose tariffs. Senator Rand Paul has some very pointed remarks. He's going to be on later today, and we can talk to him after we talk to Scott Bessent, and we'll see whether he is very forthcoming about what he told the president in Florida, or, you know, with President Trump, it's best to, if you're going to, I'm not saying disagree with him, but if you're going to point out to him there are some nuances to what he's doing, it's best to do it in a fairly conciliatory way. So, but we'll see. I think he went down and said, listen, Mr. President, no one wants a permanent tariff structure in the United States. And the whole reason you're doing this, and really I think the reason that they settled on that weird reverse engineered formula, which makes everything look worse, so they could, their opening bid could be much higher than it would have normally been thought to have been, and it leaves room for negotiation. That's what everybody...
An anchoring technique is what he likes to call it.
Anchoring technique. But, you know, listening again, Navarro made the rounds everywhere yesterday, and he was basically saying, we don't care if it's 0-0, that there's so many other impediments to free trade in all these places. So I don't know what the end. I don't know what if the end game is zero trade deficits with every country in the world. That's never going to happen because it doesn't work that way. But I don't. You know, that's
there are implications about what that means. The trade deficit that we run with countries, they often reinvest in the United States through that, whether it's buying treasuries or sending investments here from some other perspective too.
And you saw Larry Lindsay yesterday. The whole idea of comparative advantage. Yeah. It's a real thing, and it's what, you know, it's. Globalization had some unintended horrible consequences, admittedly, but we're never going to make certain things here. Even if you got zero tariffs, how are we going to pay workers here $2 an hour? There's going to be places in the world where things are going to be made that we import.
And Navarro's point yesterday was they should get rid of things like the VAT, the value-added tax, but you know, that's a tax that doesn't put us at a comparative disadvantage because everyone there pays it as well. It's basically a consumption tax.
And it's different.
It's like a sales tax.
Different in every place.
Yeah.
So you could spend how long talking to the EU about what they do? You'd spend 6 months doing that. You could spend the same amount of time, you know.
Ethan's take on stocks?
The read, but you all, I'm giving you financial advice, and I am qualified. Put your money in the stock market. Do it frequently and do it early. You know, that's how you stay ahead. And I know if people don't make a lot of money and it's hard, but like even stock sticking away like $100 a month, a couple $100 a month over the course of years, that shit adds up. And the stock market, it doubles pretty much consistently every 10 years. Your money will double. Double. To the moon, baby. So. But to me, I don't like playing the markets. I don't like speculating, or I don't even like investing in individual.
You just market in like a
S&P 500
or whatever, right? Yeah.
S&P 500. You know, just leave it there.
Okay.
That's how the stock market works. You get dividends. Some stocks have different dividends versus like appreciation rates. If you want to go for a high dividend stock index, you can get really high level dividends where they're just giving you money instead of interest.
Public nudity calls.
Like highest dividend stocks.
I always say it's fair to and wise to reinvest those.
Yeah, I always reinvest my dividends. But some
couple things with dividend stocks. Typically, high dividend stocks like when you do search like highest dividend stocks, that's usually an indication that a company is about to cut their dividend because they've lost so much underlying value that the yield grows. So it'll be like, wow, this stock is yielding 10%. Well, that's because the stock has crashed and the company is doing poorly and they're about to cut the dividend. So you can't just search like that. You need to know more about the underlying company than just the dividend yield. You need to know more than just like Googling shit.
Some people live off it, which is totally valid. If you're like in retiring age, you want to put like.
Here's the thing about the stock market. We've had a tremendous bull market since 2012. Now, except for the COVID, there was a COVID V where the stock market crashed in fears of COVID and then recovered very quickly because both Biden and Trump did huge stimulus. The Fed took interest rates to 0%. There was a bunch of easy and free money, and the line just shot up, right? And so, you know, when you're investing in a bull market, and a bull market that lasted 13 years, then yeah, I mean, it seems easy peasy. You just stick your money in. But we're now entering a period where a recession and trade war is very likely. Anybody telling you to just plow your money into the stock market right now is not giving you good financial advice. It could be years before the stocks recover, or it could be a buying opportunity. We don't know. What a reasonable financial advisor should be doing to you right now is saying this is a period of high volatility and high risk. And if you buy stocks now, you may never recover their value. Past performance is no promise of future results. And the United States of America under Donald Trump is making risky policy decisions that disrupts international trade and the way the world has worked for the past 100 years. And so we don't know what the future will hold. That's what you should be saying to your people right now.
S&P 500, you know, just leave it there.
Okay.
That's how the stock market works. You get dividends. Some stocks have different dividends versus like appreciation rates. If you want to go for a high dividend,
He's so fucking stupid. He's just saying words. He's legitimately just saying words, dude.
A high dividend stock because you need money. You need spending money. I mean, some of them like Stanley Black and Decker. I know what the fuck this shit is.
This is not an old clip.
Giving out dividends.
Black and Decker, they make like tools and shit like that.
This is number one. Telenova.
So what is the benefit for somebody going public?
They get a ton of money.
Okay.
The people who have shares in the company before they go public become mega rich.
So do you dilute your ownership? Like
Yes.
you go down from like.
The company raises money from going public. They're issuing equity. They actually don't usually get money from the stock market itself. The stock market is a secondary market. Typically, when you issue shares, the investment bank is the one who values the shares at a certain price and then gives the company that money. And then the investment bank turns around and tries to sell those shares in an IPO so that they can make profit. They make money. The investment bank makes money from underwriting fees and then selling the IPO.
Like being the only owner to whatever you choose to be.
Yeah, and if someone buys enough stock, they can actually like get on the board and stuff.
And then that's where there's like shareholders that you need to report
So
to.
there's shareholder meetings. There's just like a lot of regulation and disclosures and stuff because like it's tightly regulated the market. But for example, like Vanguard owns a big share in a lot of companies just because their ETX profile is so big. There's so many people in Vanguard. They all have their money in the S&P 500 through them. So if you look at a lot of the biggest companies in America, you'll see Vanguard is like one of the top shareholders. So they have representatives on the board, and they're fiduciary, which means they are legally obligated to represent the interests of their investors. And so they have representatives on their board that with extraordinary voting power to you know, vote in your interest, theoretically, ideally, legally.
Got it.
This is, by the way, financial advice.
Look at us, just a couple of Jews talking about money.
And here's my legal advice. This is why, by the way, the guy who's like, oh, this is legal advice, don't listen to him. You know why I said that? Because I'm telling you now that all those people are scammers. Financial advisor is the biggest silly-ass scam in the world.
Well, I mean, we kind of proved that was what he was saying. You just like overcomplicated S&P 500 in that Reddit post.
Well, and then there's
You just said you're giving financial advice, which shows that you don't know what you're talking about, because financial advisors can be held responsible under FINRA for providing unsuitable advice. So you're saying I'm providing you advice. You're opening yourself up for lawsuits if somebody follows your advice and it turns out that it was improperly calculated to the risk profile. You are liable. That's why I don't give you financial advice, because we haven't established a relationship where I could provide you personalized advice. I don't want you to sue me because you did something I said was a good idea